welcome back to day 2 of Masters Bangkok. I am your host, Yingsu, and I'm back on the desk here once again with Mimi and Achilles to set up the stage for our final match of today. It will be G2 versus Trace Esports. Now, so far, the seed ones have been going through one by one, and Mimi, on paper, you gotta be also favoring G2 just a little bit here in this matchup.
You do, but Trace is the ultimate upset team. We've seen it from them before. We've seen it from guys on the team. Dion K never lost to an America's team before, and I imagine he doesn't want to start today, no matter what the odds may be.
Yeah, certainly not. Like the G2 actually did catch up. I got to chat with them a little bit. I'm like, where's the meme t-shirt? You know, something prepared for their tournaments, but they have them here. It seems like they finally got those in stock. But yeah, this is going to be a difficult one. Right now, G2 looking like potentially the cleanest team. Depending on how this match goes, they could walk away looking like one of the cleaner teams at the tournament, because there have been some muddied moments from everybody else.
Yeah, but it also feels like, Mimi, since the inception of these group of players, you know, the core, they've always looked like the favorites no matter which tier, which tournament they're in.
Yeah, I mean, it was true as of a couple of years ago, but there was definitely a time back when people doubted them. This is the same core that was the guard that went on their crazy run. They didn't make partnership, went down to tier 2 together, grinded things out, finally made it to partnerships, and now they're here in their second year as an Ascension team. And not only have they made it to another Masters tournament, but I think in a lot of people's eyes, myself included, they're coming in as probably the favorite to win Masters Bangkok, and that's from a squad that qualified into the partnership leagues because of Ascension.
Yeah, I don't think that is at all, getting a little bit too, flamboyant with your words there. I think that they do come into this being very much the favorites of the tournament at the moment. And what a story it would be if they could go from getting their first trophy, first Ascension team to be able to get that trophy, and then get a Masters one on top of it. This would be an incredible journey. And
their year last year was already incredible, making the run that they did at Masters Shanghai, showing that they can be competitive internationally there. And now, like you mentioned, Seth, getting that very first trophy, breaking that second place curse that they had last year in Americas as well.
I mean, on the global stage too, right? We're going to talk about the dog in a second, in just a moment. But even before he joined this roster on the global stage, they also looked very, very good.
Yeah, they've all of last year, an incredible run for them, always getting so very close to having the opportunity to go for that trophy, the run at Masters Shanghai, to then fall to Heretics. They were always nipping near the top. This team is incredible, but they have absolutely leveled up with Jocko.
And keeping 4 players into this year, the system has continued through. Valorant has such an incredible level of trust and coordination built up with these boys. And of course, they added a world champion into the team. Jojimo has been a perfect addition to this roster, and it feels like the easiest one-for-one upgrade you could make into a team that was already a contender at international events.
Oh yeah, I'm 100% with you guys. I think they're definitely looking like one of the favorites. And speaking of, let's have a chat with the IGL G2 Valen with Mika Fabs.
Standing here right now with Valen of G2. Nice to see you here. Now, you're up against Trace Esports, and they surprised everybody last year, of course, taking down Leviathan and Vitality. How did that affect your prep for them going into this first match?
Yeah, I think they had good performances last year, but last year is last year, and they're going to have to do it again. So for us, we don't feel intimidated by it. We just go in and play our game and see if they can do it again.
New year, new event. Best of luck to you guys.
I feel like that applies to them as well, you know? New year, maybe some things are still the same, but they do have to come out here and prove themselves again. But how easy or difficult, Mimi, will it be for this G2 squad?
I think there's high expectations, but I think they've already lived up to that in their own mind. Being able to win back in Americas, you have to come in with a lot of confidence off of that. And I think they come in with a meta that they're super comfortable with, players in great form. They feel set up to meet the expectations.
I fully agree.
I love that. She said it all.
She's the expert coming over from Americas, but yeah, she said it all.
Yeah,
Nailed it.
I mean, okay, let's just hype up the Jogamo here. Let's just hype up why even the other players. You know, we had Human here yesterday, and he was like, "Yeah, I've been watching a ton of Jogamo."
Seth, I'm gonna keep yapping for one more second because I just want to play this round, which to me is the difference between G2 with Icy and G2 with Jock. He's ulting through B into heaven alone on Yor. The team then takes the side, and look where his teleport is. It's in their spawn, behind them. Giacomo is so much more of a player who's willing to take his agency, take his risks. Here he hears the snowball, TP's behind them, gets a 2K, and that's the round that wins them kickoff in Americas. Icy was a player that fit into what G2 wanted, but he was very much a player who was, you know, just doing what the team asked of him. He wasn't taking those risks, he wasn't making those plays, and despite G2's successes, he looked like one of the least individually powerful, heavy-hitting duelists out of the best teams in the world. And now you're bringing a world champion in Jaw, who just adds immense levels of aura to this team.
I feel like we did have those moments from time to time with Icy, but what you're talking about is just that consistency.
He wasn't a
from
superstar,
Jaw.
though.
Yeah, he didn't have the agency to just say, okay, I'm going to look to just try to take over this round and hope for the best. Jaw is willing to go for that, to really roll the dice and go for that gamble. More often than not, he comes away with it because he's still just so mechanically gifted.
And to me, that's adding something that G2 lacked in the past. They're more willing to take risks now. They let Giacomo make those plays, which adds a bit of spice to their play that they didn't have previously.
I also feel like that's elevated everyone else's performances too, right? The way that we've seen Leaf. My goodness, how great is Leaf right now? But we do have a tweet here from Jonah P talking about his teammate, Giacomo, and what he feels like he's been bringing to this team. Again, we've heard him from the daily teas as well. We've heard him doing lots of content, just literally gassing up his teammate. And why wouldn't you? Because Achilles, I feel like Giacomo is not just a great player on the server, he's just vibes off the server as well.
He really is. And like I was fortunate enough to meet Draw back in 23 when we were over at Champions. And even though he was getting ready to go up against Paper Rex, I couldn't help but love this guy because he just exudes a positive personality. He's so damn chill. And I think that is a huge boon to have this guy who's there to just, you know, continue to gas up the players when you're already doing so well, and you have this guy that can be the tip of the spear, go in, absolutely clap, but then also set up the rest of the team simultaneously while keeping the vibes up. It's the overall package here with Jaw.
And America's Valen has talked to us about the fact that he feels like Valen is like adding the vibe, just the energy to the team. It gives the rest of them confidence when Giacomo is coming in, being the good vibes that he is, bringing the swagger that he has, and you see it in their play now.
I'm not gonna lie, he gives me confidence. When he walked past me, I'm like, what's up? Yeah, you alright? Because they spent a lot of time in Europe, so we had the pleasure of getting to know them, and you know, I can understand why you guys love this team so much over in Americas. However, over in VCTCN, there is a team that they also love. It's not EDG, it is Trace Esports, returning once again as well. Achilles, they have been here before. We did see them at Champs, and they surprised everybody.
No, they really did. I mean, it all started with that victory over Team Vitality, who have been able to go ahead and net themselves another international win, so that's a big W for them. But Trace, they caught us off guard with that victory. Hebe had talked about his idol and Aspas and how he was kind of nervous but excited to go up and play against him, and then he was able to slay him. He was able to just go ahead and jump that hurdle, and they completely caught us all off guard. People who paid very close attention to China, yes, they'll say, of course, Trace was always going to be this kind of contender team, but they were always that dark horse back at Champions, and my God, did they deliver. They didn't make it too far into the playoffs, but the performances that they did have were so very entertaining, and I'm very happy to see them back on this stage once again, because this guy in his own right, also a bit of a vibe merchant.
Yeah, how could you not smile when you look at him?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the reaction when they won that first match, the shot of him crying on stage, what it meant for them to get those wins back in Champions. But I think they're more than just an upset team now. They've proven how good they can be, and they proved it back in China this season too.
They did, and also they've stuck together. You know,
all five players.
They've managed to stay together. They managed to overcome one of the demons for them, which is EDG, of course, at kickoff in their own tournament. And Mimi, the way that they did it too, the things they were playing and how they managed to beat some of the teams was really fascinating to see.
Yeah, if you didn't watch CN this season, you might think I'm a psycho for saying it, but in my mind, Trace was the favorite to win the finals against EDG. The first time they played this season, Trace smoked them 13-4 back-to-back maps. And EDG only really started to look like themselves further in the lower bracket. This tournament was all about Trace. The only game they dropped was the finals.
Oh, this was ridiculous, this clip. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this was silly.
Just to reinforce that, I mean, I think that pretty much all the way up until EDG had even gotten into the grand final, you were kind of favoring a lot of the other teams that they were playing against because they didn't look like themselves. And it was that grand final, as you're saying, where they were able to hit that stride and get that kind of revenge match victory over EDG in 3-1 fashion. But Trace the whole way throughout, which is absolutely coasting, tearing people apart during their stay there in VCT China. So we knew from the outset, like, yep, this team's going to make it to the internationals. And it was that second slot that was always the question mark.
And this is such a cool tournament to watch Trace in now, because the Chinese teams had a month off after finishing VCTC and lots of time to come in, prep new stuff. And Trace's thing is, they're not all about the individuals. They're the thinking man's team. They play together really well. They always come up with interesting gimmick comps, interesting ideas to come out and anti-strat their opponent. And with that level of prep, even against a favored team like G2, I trust they're going to have some interesting map prepped that could catch G2 off guard.
Especially when you got a player like Feng Feng on your team. He's standing by right now with Mika Fabs ahead of this match.
I'm standing here right now with Feng Feng of Trace Esports, and I have Veer to help me with some translation. Now, Feng Feng, even with Trace's performance last year, even with EDG winning champions last year, a lot of people still underestimate the CN region. What is your message to all of those that still underestimate both teams and even those that have Trace at the bottom of their tier lists?
即使去年 EDG 拿到了冠军，并且 T 也有不错的表现，你是否认为现在还是有一些人会去低估 CN 赛区的实力？对他们有什么想说的呢？
在我看来，24年的冠军就是最好的证明。然后，在大师赛开始前，大家都很不看好太平洋和我们赛区，然后他们昨天都拿到了首胜。然后我就是想对他们说，不要纸上谈兵，然后比赛见真章。
I think we did prove ourselves, like with the 2024 trophy. And before yesterday's match, I don't think there were a lot of people expecting EDG and DRX to win, but they did. So I just want to say, forget about those theories. Just like look at the fact.
Expect the unexpected. Good luck to you guys.
He's not wrong. He's definitely not wrong. And what I want to talk about when it comes to Feng Feng is we speak about the MVP, potentially having a contender, somebody being the best in their role on their team. If Trace were to make it all the way, I think Feng Feng will be a huge MVP contender. And I will go as far as to say he might be the best race player in this tournament.
I mean, I think it could definitely make a strong argument for that, but I'm right there with you. I think if they could go on that run, he would have to be in that conversation for MVP because he's not just sticking to the race. We've always seen him kind of swap back and forth, you know, Kai coming in to play on jet maps, etc. But he's been picking up this Vice now that it's in the meta for the team, and he's really been stretching his flexibility.
This meta really lends itself to creativity, and I think that's where Trace shines. They have great flexibility in their players. Multiple guys are going to swap around and pick up the duels. They're even buying some stuff that went out of fashion, still locking in quite a few neon comps. So there's a lot of room for them to experiment, to play their own unique style, and they execute on that so incredibly well with the talents of players like Feng Feng, like Kai.
Is that how you beat a team like G2? You throw things at them they've never seen before?
I think that's what you have to try, but I don't think it'll work.
Oh, give me some hopium.
No, I think if you can throw some curveballs, some things that they're not really ready for, especially at the early start of rounds, get those early advantages, that's how they're going to need. They're going to have to snowball this.
Okay, I feel like I'm on the more copy side of this. We'll see, we'll see. But for now, it's time to send this down to stage and bring out the last two teams here. It will be G2 Esports taking on Trace.
Trace Esports พบกับ G2
Two contenders of Masters Bangkok. G2 Esports, the team that won it all back in Americas, and the ultimate underdogs in Trace. But Mimi, you hit the nail on the head. Bianchi has stood before a lot of Americans players before, and he has never lost against him. Will the streak continue today?
Trace is the ultimate upset team. You can never count them out completely, and they have had a hell of a lot of time to cook and come up with something special to catch G2 off guard.
And I think that is the biggest advantage that they have because China wrapped so early on. We saw what that kind of meant for EDG in their matches just yesterday. For Trace, how much have they been able to study G2? I guess a hell of a lot.
But they're starting things off on a map that we haven't seen a ton of from G2. They only played this Lotus once against Cloud9. I think they looked quite good in that map, but this is definitely comfort territory for Trace. They were playing a Fade Vice comp on this map last time they came out, but going into the later stages of this veto, and it looks like really comfortable territory for G2. Having both the Abyss and Pearl in there, I have a hard time imagining how Trace wins those two maps.
I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I think if Trace want to win here, they have to 2-0. I don't see a world where they can beat G2 on Pearl, and that is a tremendous amount of pressure.
It is, but the Abyss already is going to be a very big challenge for them. But if they can get that, or even if they just trade maps, who the hell knows what we can end up having on that Pearl. Like I said, Trace, they have had an immense amount of time to study G2, to figure out what their play call system looks like, what they can anticipate round over round, and then try to find something, whether it's in the comp or in their own playstyle, to counteract G2. It's time to find out if all of that homework, all of that study can pay off on the stage.
G2's biggest strength is how they game plan ahead of time. When you watch them play into a map, it's almost always the first part of a half is planned out. They have a set pistol round, they have set gun rounds to go for early on. Josh RT and Valen are really good at coming up with the right read, and the players really buy into that system. But they showed they could bleed in the Americas finals, dropping a couple maps to Sentinels. And the way Sentinels was playing was honestly just disrespect. Fighting into smokes, taking risks, catching the G2 players off guard. This is not an unbeatable team, but it's a strong one, and they still won that final.
And I do wonder how they're going to react in a situation where they've been under a microscope. Every other team in other regions have stolen stuff that G2 have come up with, their comps, their strats, everything under the sun. So what more else can they give? Because Trace is not really the type of team you guys already spoke about that like to do that. They have their own style. They have their own thing going on.
Yeah, we saw them just kind of sticking to their guns back at Champions, and it was good enough for them to be able to make that run to get up into the playoffs. I'm curious if there's going to be some additional iteration, because a month's time is a lot to find something and then make it your own. Find your own identity within a composition that might be borrowed from somewhere else. So I'm curious if there are going to be these pivots. But you're talking about how Sentinels played against G2 in that final, how they were able to get some wins away from them. I think Trace are going to be capable of that, especially if you're going out on Lotus here. I'm expecting to see Feng on that raise. You want to disrespect, push some smokes, Feng, that's your guy.
Well, taking a look at the agent select here, we will not get any changes.
Yeah, it's going to be sticking to the same comps, and I think this is a really good position for G2 to be in. Playing on this Yoru, they do a really good job at dealing with Vi's setups, using that clone to bait stuff out. Honestly, I think with how slow G2 can play on their attack side, baiting out that util, going for late round executes, it almost feels like Trace is going to have to play into a lot of flood defense type rounds.
Yeah, I might have to just try to get back into it before G2 can fully get entrenched, but this is kind of what I was talking about at the beginning, and what I'm hoping to see here from Trace is a way to counteract this Yoru as it goes up against that Vice. Have they solved it? Have they found the formula to break this Yoru down and make it look a little bit less indomitable than it has been?
Solo initiator with that fade means there's not as many tools to set up Feng that the Raze on the Yoru on the other side is going to be able to have here.
Well, we have a very exciting match ahead of us and a very exciting duo. Join me and show some love for Panda.
Thank you so much, Yinzu and the desk. Yeah, a fantastic game here, and a lot of people kind of feeling there's something about Trace in this matchup. There's a potential for an upset. There's something that has got them worried or potentially excited. But they're against G2. Do you believe the hype?
Honestly, I do believe the hype. I feel like they're almost kind of a fake second seed because of how well they were doing in the regular bracket up until the finals where they dropped to EDG. But at the same time, it's hard to believe in that magic in game one against so many people's tournament favorites in G2.
Spot on. Now, we have a couple players that have had those couple upsets, obviously for Trace, but look, the veto, at least they got Lotus, right? We start here. This is probably their best opportunity to stake their claim. If this goes sideways, put a fork in it, it might be done. But for now, we start with the pistol, and it has to look good for me here for Trace. I have to have some faith from this map.
Here. It's going to be a brawl soon, too. That baby door has already been chipped down very low. 2 players ready to fight out off that. Look at it go.
Yeah, Valen's the first to fall, so already drawing first blood. Perfect for Trace. G2, a quick reminder and a pause now in pace.
Interesting that Trace have now backed 3 players over into the B site, so leaving a very weak Bianca alone on that site for now. And it's going to be up to G2 to sniff that out, because if they go into a B pop, they've lost B main control. They're going to have no chance.
And that question mark he wanted to find an answer to. Already invested in the utility, but gets no reward. But I guess there's some info in the lack of. It is going to be that flood towards B. The trades are there. Nice positioning towards main, at least, from some of Trace. Going to make this difficult. G2 not finding what they want on the way in.
Yeah, got a couple of kills, but it's not going to be enough, especially because Bianca is still back there towards stairs. That's going to be the first kill, and Trace with an excellent pistol to start it.
I love this. Bianca, the ultimate America's killer, is just holding this down, just resolute to move. Perfect start for Trace. Calm and collected, didn't feel phased by G2 there, weren't to be bullied around, held very nicely in all of these pivots throughout the pistol.
Exactly. I think it was that shift over into the B site after the trap play, because a lot of teams, they'd stay in that same space, keep brawling to the death. G2 might have been able to fight it out, but instead, G2 fell exactly into the trap Trace were trying to lay there. It was layers on layers. The thinking man's Valorant team that Mimi was calling Trace already showing up in round 1.
That's lovely to see. Now, again, we want to see this being kept clean, because I think every man knows, any viewer knows, the rest of this map ball does swing quite nicely towards G2 here. So for me, I want to see Trace being clean about this, looking composed, looking in control, because, you know, G2 can get under your skin. They are an explosive side at times. Hebe looking to farm up. That's the controller one. They have slipped through, so he could actually be pinched here, and he does go down. They've got, I don't want to say site control, but they've at least got the foot in the door.
It's awkward, too, because Kai is the only player going into site here.
I'm worried he's going ahead here. There was no trade potential. That's far too risky for far too little reward. G2 given a chance. They pause the tempo.
Yeah, G2 have plenty of time. A minute left. Trace right now is still a little bit scattered. They're worried about G2 actually just running through the C site, but G2 have to comfortably grab the spike with the smoke and get out of there.
And I like what Jorg's trying to do as well, get a little more space over towards that CT side, kind of play off site, play the timing. I don't know how it's going to work out. Timing is going to be awkward. Yeah,
you hate to see it.
Wait.
Ooh, no way.
Oh, you might love to see it. I don't know. This is just gone completely topsy-turvy. Gorgeous flash. Jorgamo's being a nuisance. Time's being bought, and look at Valen joining in. It ain't a one-man fight anymore. They have no idea about this additional body, and Valen can just hold this down. But they still have to control the site, which they might be doing here. Hold on, it's a 1v1, but the defuse is a problem. Bianca is going to sit this. He's not going to get off this one, surely. Not actually does. He has to. Read it so well. Valen had to rush back towards site. They keep it in check with the second round, but hey, this is G2. Yeah, that's a rude awakening right there.
Look, Trace losing 4 players on that round is kind of crazy. The fact they only got 1 for 1 on that initial site hit, G2 then sort of switching up those players, right? Jogamo initially taking the fight up against Loking in Waterfall, only to then have him go over into the site with some really nice mid-round or post-plant decision-making from G2 that genuinely gave them a chance there in the eco.
I just think for Trace, you've got to get real tight on some of those opportunities. Giving those options over to G2, they're going to make absolute mountains out of molehills there. You can't afford it. And that was up against Classics, maybe a Ghost at most. We go back in here into the bonus for Trace, and of course G2 now with that nice purchase to come up with.
Yeah, G2's prep will have told them that Trace leaves C-Site very weak. Usually it's just the Viper or Kai on the Vise hanging out here. Hey, hold on, there's a clone right underneath him. He's not fooled by that.
Dirk is not in this one. There's no problems. We're all good. Trent just going farming. But an early opportunity, kind of pressuring that C-site, pulling over the rotation.
Yeah, I think it's important, though, that G2 do this early conditioning in the half, that they're going to show a couple of full-on C aggros, because Trace so often will be full fighting over towards that Rebel space. Then you put a pause in the mid-round, you re-clear into Rebel, and all of a sudden Trace will get a little bit less comfortable around their information. They don't really have that hold right now or any real space on that Rebel side.
Yeah, just need to start clearing some question marks. You can see the flash coming in through B, maybe just trying to get the info, but we can see where this is likely ending for G2. Very meticulous in approach, still holding that default for quite some time, about 40 seconds. Tree pressure and tree control gathered, and it's going to be there's no situation that Bianca is going to stick around too close on site. He's got a Ghost. It's time to fall away from this, let them get the plant and play retake.
30 seconds see even left. How committed they go into the retake, whether or not they try to deny some ult orbs or something like this. Bianca is actually going to find the go shot and hold on now because Trace have 4 players ready to go.
And that's Trent gone from a post plant as well. We know what that Teo can do, but already you can see that pressure mounting, almost that quick retake coming in, but they get stopped at the gates. Hebe going down makes this trickier, but an opportunity made out of nothing. Still need to chip away at the last 3 if they really want to make a go at this. Fang does well, expects the counter swing, but it's Leaf holding that back line, taking away Kai, pretty much tips this completely into their hands. This would have to be monstrous from Fang. I don't think it's going to happen. It's not. G2 just about get across the finish line there. Very close.
These rounds are really tight, though. Even with bad buys for these 2 teams. Giving you a little preview of how intense these rounds could end up playing. We'll see this again from Young K's perspective. The sole side anchor. Good for 1 there. But really this sets up for a very interesting round 4 because just about everyone in the server is 1 or 2 points away from the ultimate. Playing for those early ult orbs is going to be really important.
Just warming in. It's a long road ahead of them here.
Now Valen's one of the cooler IGL heads out there. Keeping it calm for G2.
Kind of need that as well. There's something you want to be seeing, keeping that composure. Very early rubble control this time.
Especially with such high expectations for G2 coming into the tournament. You know, we're in the last 3 finals, lost the first 2, finally win kickoff, finally have those huge expectations. For now, can just bait out this wall as they again show that early presence towards C.
This feels like consistent conditioning, but Kai's got himself a little bit of a pocket to play from here. I do want to see them be very diligent and clearing towards site. He's tried to make something of it. It didn't really go well. Now the follow-up is there for Hebe, but this still feels a bit brawly to me. I'm looking at the rest of the map, and everyone now having to rotate over. We're seeing them get control. That C site now under the G2 banner. I don't see much pressure coming back in, but they're still looking to have a fight on this, and they do have the ult there as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. Trace need to find some kind of a pick, but also the spike hasn't been planted, so G2 are going to have to walk into some of these angles. They have no flashes left on Jonah P. Maybe waiting for the refresh of a fault line, something like this. They don't even feel like they have control of the site right now using the blast to clear back.
Yeah, Valen, they're just going to be investing the smoke. Ooh, it's going to be in a little bit of chip. Decent amount of chip, but still no kill, and it's unconfirmed damage, so it's not going to be enough for them to really want to springboard in on. They're still quite comfortable here. 4 players to get through. I think you're calling a save on this.
Yeah, especially like Fang Hayes got the regen shield going in on that one too, so even though he gets chipped, going to be totally fine to go ahead and save that and go into the next round. Although that said, one thing that G2 will do is if they notice that the teams they're playing against are buying a lot of light shields or regen shields, Leaf will just buy an Outlaw. And it doesn't matter what agent he's playing, it doesn't matter if he's on attack or if he's on defense, like that guy's just an Outlaw demon. And something you have to keep in mind if you're trying to play this econ game where you have a lot more buy rounds but are never opting into the heavy.
For G2, that's got to feel good. 4 standing. A clean round for them, kind of getting past that C puzzle as well, not getting too phased by it, even with all the Viper utility on it and then kind of the Vice playing on it. They still made it through. So that's a pretty big tick in the box, I'd say, going into the rest of this game.
100%. And G2, they're sort of... They're set up well, as we are going to be jumping into a quick timeout here. G2 are set up well into this matchup versus Trace because they're playing the Yoru on Lotus, which is not something a lot of teams do, but the Yoru clone just bullies the Vice utility that Kai is going to be setting up towards C. And if you watch Trace play this map over in the Chinese scene, like Kai is set up on C pretty much every single round for them. So G2, by opening up strong into the C side of the map, throwing out a Yoru clone, even if they don't exec, they can just eat up those walls all the time.
And I think it even speaks kind of to the bigger picture of Valorant in general at the moment, that Yoru just feels like a must-have. It just feels like it has so many answers across the board. I'm a little bit worried if I don't see further adaptation down the line, maybe in the next maps coming up from Trace, because they've had a little bit of time off here. I'd like to see them coming in refreshed and up-to-date with the meta as well. Like, at least we're still seeing Vice in here. Like, we're seeing some parts of it, but I still would like to see that step up throughout, right? Because otherwise I get a little nervous here.
Because the main thing was with China playing so much earlier than the other regions, they weren't really quick to adopt the Taeho, but we have seen EDG, they had the time and they implemented the Taeho, so it's certainly a possibility that we get it moving forward, although Abyss Pearl maybe not the most Taeho-heavy maps to prove it. Lotus would have really been the chance to show that if they had put in the work.
Would have been nice. But the other thing that would have been nice would be a decent buy, which sadly for Trace they're not getting here. We do have at least Fang still sitting towards the Phantom, still has the ult there, still has a little bit to play with. Lao King as well, going to have the Vandal, so there's a little bit of punch to this. I'd like to see them try and be proactive here. You've got a round where you're going to be trying to play around these hero rifles, the remains of that previous round. Let's see if we can bring it in. But already it looks like G2 is expecting this after the timeout. Very deep default.
I like this, though, from Trace, because they show the extra presence towards A, but very quickly, Feng and Lokeng moved over into front B, looking to trap into sand. Now, unfortunately, G2 read that like a book, so they're now going into the very absent A site.
Yeah, and you're going to get a little spot here. Jorgamo's hopefully going to find a corner to play. What on earth? Jorgamo.
He's alive?
Yeah, I don't know how you're getting away with that. I really don't. Jor just gets away with daylight robbery to keep his life on 40 HP. But now, Trace can now start flooding over here. They can put bodies on the side. This cross is not secure. It is certainly not safe. It's going to be punished already. A 2-for-1 trade out. Kai absolutely unleashing from the back of the site. A 2v3. And Trent now has to try and make his way over. Stunning from Trace. And a bit of a fumble it felt from Jorg there.
Yeah, honestly, like that entry sort of collapsed. Jog has to go out without really creating any space for the team. And then Trace just boxed G2 up in tree. They're ready to come out through Link. They've got players bunkering down on site and even committing the fatal to it. Even with Sheriffs in hands, it doesn't matter. They're winning the round.
Look at this again.
It's just the quick calls coming in too, right? That smoke comes down, so now how are G2 getting out of there? They've sort of lost the Yoru. He's way in the back line now. It's very awkward for them. You can see G2 are not thrilled with what just went down.
That's a rough one to lose. And that's a confidence builder here for Trace going forward. This looks like a very explosive piece towards that B site. I don't think you're getting out of this alive. Wait, they managed to hold it at the door. Jorgamo, though, from the back line, going to take away 2. This is his site already. Maybe a third. Yeah, it's a third. He's going to make up for the last round by basically getting you another. Jorgamo is ripping them to shreds. One away from the ace. And a stark reminder of what that man can do. The stars don't even need to align. He can make it all himself. And it's a formality at the end. Maybe you're going to pull off a miracle here? Prove me wrong.
I'll tell you what, it is nice to see Jog back on the big stage. But Lokeng with so much to do against him. Trent's got his number right on the side. That'll tie things back up for G2.
Oh, what a round. Give me that again. Give me that again.
It was so nice as well, right? Because you've got, you know, the jumping in, going down with a, what was there, a judge trying to run him down in Jonah P's hands? Then the double flash, Jaw's behind it. By the way, Jaw then, with a paranoia going up towards Heaven and the ultimate going into Link, takes the fight into Waterfall. Then as soon as Link opens up, he's flashing in there because he knows that A player is going to be flooding in.
You love to see that. That's a bit of magic from the man, but it's broken the money of Trace, and it feels like they get scrappier in these rounds and take higher risks, which is fine. This is rough. Actually, it's Valorant to go down. Hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa. This positioning is wild. They have to evacuate. They have to pull the cord on that. That felt too threatening over towards Rubble. They've had to pull away. Maybe to hold this default a second longer, try and cool down the jets of Trace here.
Yeah, a bit of a mess there. I think Valen got caught by the C's and the nade combo, just trying to blitz out into the open. But now, because Trace are so heavily stacked towards C, they're expecting G2 to move over there. They have little info, so Byung-K's got to step forward into front B. It's being held, and somehow he's winning that fight. That's the spike and spawn.
Uh-oh. Trent. And hold on, he didn't get stunned here. Jorgamo actually has more of a fair fight than he would have wanted. This is really messy. What is going on here? Trace being super slippery about this, and he has to get out of dodge. It's a bit of a ruse because they're still heading towards A. The bulk of G2 is still working, and somehow it feels like they've accidentally tripped into the right outcome.
Yeah, G2, they want to buy some time, I think, for Jaw to rotate back over, but look at this pit going down. Jonah P playing right up in the front of it, too.
Oh. Reveal. Oh, baby! Jonah P gonna get the wind knocked out of him on that. Jorgamo is now making it back towards this A site. They're not taking any chances on this. Ult gonna come on, but it's still gonna be Leaf. He's got the shorty, and he's ready for it. Noting Kai on the way through, gets a reload, and slips a little further back. Leaf is playing this really well, but he does get found. It's all on Jaw. And again, it feels like almost an impossible situation, and they're running ults here. And Bianca was so ready. Trace in these rounds are scrappy, and it works for them. I can't believe we're seeing this now back to back. I mean, Trent having an absolute stinker of a round there. Yeah. Jorgamo on the other side of the map. This feels really out of sorts for the G2 I expected.
Oh no, and here you see it, right? Teleporting directly into the C's nade. G2 hadn't shown that fast of a look towards Rubble, so he thought he could get away with it. But then here in mid, what's going on with that? you hear the pit go down towards stairs, so you're expecting the aggro against a team that's down in numbers. I think Trace just sort of had G2's number there. Even the shorty coming out at the end was nice, but he gets taken down. Then there's a paranoia making it impossible for Jaw to play the round.
Now, this is kind of what I wanted out of this game, though, because we do have a timeout now coming for G2, right? We've got a super scrappy Trace. Now, they're willing to get kind of dirty in these rounds. They're willing to take these aggressive fights. They're willing to scrap, almost over-rotate at times, like really take the bait almost, and it's working. I love that. I'd like to see them find stability in a gun round or two, because it feels like, hey, let's pick up the pace. Now we've got Sheriffs. Let's, go for these crazier fights. I'd love to see them find some stability. I'm a little surprised at G2 being as volatile as they are. We've seen, a bailout round from Jorg, right? That's great. That gets you 4 kills. We love one of those. But beyond that, do they look this stable? In your mind, this wasn't a high map in their veto, right? I think they played it once.
Yeah, they played it up against a
Cloud9
C9
or something, right?
It looks really good then, to be fair.
But it's certainly not high up in their veto. This is opening up for that conversation that if Trace can find stability here, they've already forced a timeout of G2. Maybe we get a game. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm hoping. I'm praying.
When you're winning ecos like that, you've got that sort of surprise factor. And honestly, when I think about G2 as a team, I think they do much better in controlled round states, right? When they've got time for VALORANT to sort of figure out what's going down. It's usually when teams are sort of blowing up the pace right from the get-go that they can run into some trouble.
Okay, well, let's see what G2 can kind of do with the similar hand that Trace was dealt not too long ago. A broken purchase, Stingers coming out, a Guardian or two, and a Sheriff. Kai needs to play this composed. He's got a lot of pressure on his...
Okay, full stun.
Yeah,
no problem.
Yeah, it's all good. No sweat. The wall goes up. We've got control. There's no problems here. G2 not getting away with anything they want in this round.
The half buy for them just completely falls apart. The oldest trick in the book, half buy, so you force into the B site, and Trace were absolutely ready for it. Actually, I think I really like how Trace have been sort of controlling with the early fights towards Rubble, being able to break Baby Door, go into Link, sort of move back and forth between the B and A sites. It's caused a lot of problems for G2, even on their bigger buy rounds.
No fuel.
Now, do they get a little bit of a read on this? It's gone real quiet on the rest of the map. Now there's going to be this explosive approach towards C. Again, high pressure, high tempo, stunning, clear. G2 just shifted gears, showing some real pedigree on this one. Supplan's going to be in.
And Jonapi has the Rolling Thunder in the post plant. Trace have to sort of bait that out somehow, but I'm not sure they have the utility to do it outside of the paranoia.
This pivot to the C site was absolutely heaven sent for G2. It's still rough though, but it is that ult with Jonah P, right? That's the backbone to this round.
And Trent's just gonna be a little rat on site, playing off this perfectly.
Yeah, why not? But a very early investment of the ult, and now hold on. This may not go the way they wanted. Leaf! Stunning from him. 2 quick kills, and the ult in the end does find the impact they needed, and G2 stabilize.
Beautiful, beautiful post plant coming through from G2. Again, a messy round at the start, but I think they've really pinpointed that C is going to be the weakness for Trace consistently. When they've been able to get onto that side, it's not been an issue. I also think the C anchors from Trace have played it the same way every round. They've played back in bend, and then they push up onto top site and try to look down on you when you come through the wall. And G2 have been very successful at picking off that player.
And now for a team that we've kind of given the credit of being quite a thinking man's team at times, I want to see if Trace can adapt to that. Do they now start thinking about this? Do they have something in mind how they want to approach it? Because for G2, they can kind of set and paint the scene however they want. Early, we've got pressure. Hold on. Does this man get to live? No, he does not. G2 draw first blood. They take over Rubble control, and they've already put a problem towards that A site.
Now, Trace are still in the area. 3 players ready to go with a delayed refight for them. Putting up the wall right now to see if G2 overextend into that space. But G2, it's very rare they'll just get a pick and over-accelerate into you. And especially after, I think, what they remember of the pistol round with that second layer of fighting. I think G2 were almost waiting for Trace to play their hand or overplay it even.
And it's a very fair shout, right? That pause. You get a man advantage, just pause for a second, see if maybe Trace do try and get that pick back. It would be the death of them if they do. Now, I kind of like that they pushed out towards Mound on the C site. You've got an early warning system there. Maybe it's a little tricky for Heybei, obviously, on the Viper, but that's fine. I don't mind it. But still, it allows them this security to keep 2 players on this A site, at least.
But you think about it, it's when those individual players from Trace have pushed forward, whether that was Bianca into front B or whatnot, they found success here. A little 1-2 punch setup. Jonah P, looking high, finding 2 kills.
He's made something out of it. It ain't over yet, but it's a long rotation for Heybei. The first on the site will be Bianca. He's going to get it. At least...
Silent drop.
Yeah, they have no idea. Hold on. He's close enough. Hold on, he's got one. A 1v2. Heybei, have you got it in you? Have you got the capability to pull this one off? Trent, though, again in the post plant here. Down a little low, but that's fine. Leaf the one to really do the damage before first attempt made. Doesn't care. He's going to have to care. Yeah, that's going to force you off, but he's actually made this feel a little doable. Trent was just like, hell, I'll die for this one. No worries. Okay, all good. G2. I'll do a little bit
You know what?
here.
I respect it. I respect it. It takes some guts to get up there and intentionally die to the molly to get the timing on the defuse.
Bless him. I mean, they are making G2 work for this. We are seeing that throughout, but I do have to give credit here to G2. That nice pause of the tempo reset, still effective trading towards tree. Like, they're managing these fires that keep breaking out over this map.
It's also G2 realizing that they're not just supposed to instantly fight in trouble. They wait out that Seasonade combo, then re-clear it. Do well with Low King, but once again, it'll be that same volley of utility sent by Trace. This time, though, on the light buy, Almo's getting right up in it.
He's clearing this so far. He's got a pocket to play from. The Prowler gonna still note attendance here, but it's Hebe on the other side playing further forward. I thought he had a shot on that one. Not to be, Valen clears through diligently. Next in line, Kai. Hard to make the Sheriff's work here, and unfortunately the worst target to find out in the pack. So he has to respect this and back away. This is solid from G2.
Yeah, we'll see if they can keep that going up in the post plant, but the early chip damage down. Feel a little bit confident. G2 played pretty heavily sight in these post plants. It was a little bit different. Usually we see them fighting more aggressively. This time making sure there aren't going to be any flanks coming in, anything like that. They know that Trace have shown quite a lot of flank looks domestically, and especially on the eco round that could be coming in.
I'd quite like them to revisit that almost, kind of lean back a little heavier on trying to pressure those backlines, because Leaf, I know it's only Sheriffs and they're like, you know, barely half HP, but he looks kind of stylish with what he's doing here. Just farming him up. Why not? Get some confidence builders. Work towards the ult. Pretty close.
You know, I don't know if Leaf is lacking in confidence necessarily.
That's a fair point.
This guy was tearing it up in America. Is really the standout player for G2. Kind of stealing the show a bit from Jogamo, because obviously like the hype was Jogamo's coming into G2. This is like the most stacked roster we've ever seen on paper, but in reality it has been Leaf, whether he's on the Viper, perma-locking in the chamber, just dominating servers.
We do have a couple ults starting to hit here as well. There's not two, I mean, you've got one away from Kai's there, you've got two away from Fung Funks, but on the other side, you're looking at Trent having theirs. Yep. And I'm just kind of like waiting to see if they have something in mind with this for G2. I'm still waiting to see at least one good Teo ult.
Yeah, I mean,
didn't feel like I've had many of those, but, you know, I like this stack. I like the proactive approach towards B as well. This may be the adjustment for this C lane that we've seen consistently coming out. A proactive and an aggressive Kai to kick things off. And with Trent gone, it does remove away a lot of that utility late round that G2 would have loved to have had.
I love how mobile Trace are here too. After they get the first pick, they're actually kind of abandoning the C site. Very happy to play retake with that. You look at the Nightfall, you look at the Vise ult. Sure, you can play that retake. Bolstering up that A defense, because Bianchi on his own with the Odin, maybe not the best, but if you can play that sort of crossfire, that bait and switch setup with Fung Fung backstairs, you're going to be in a great spot.
We have the Leaf is going looking.
Toxins going up.
I could see a world where Valen tries to get the ult online here too, just to blow up the round in the post plant.
There we go. Plant going to come down, and the ult now primed Kai,
Planted.
waiting to instigate this retake.
You could even try to dodge the Visal with it.
And I love the deep smoke coming down from Lao King as well, kind of creating that pressure through towards Thor. It kind of makes them fight forward, which they're willing to do. It's G2, they want a bit of aggression, but it's Leaf to try and draw the blood, but it's a 2-for-1 trade out. Trace have the numbers, and they have the round. They manipulated G2 from start to end in this.
That was just gorgeous. Had all the ults they needed to go in on that retake, or flooding in from every single lane into the site. G2 were not ready for that at all.
I'm impressed with Trace. I really am.
Genuinely. This is also like defense side Lotus. They put up 5 already. Still one more left to play.
And this is G2. Can we just put in context here how good G2 have looked? They have looked outrageous coming into this. The new meta suiting them well, the map pool looking good. Yeah, they had their permaban, but that's fine. Everything else looked brilliant. I want to see them look dominant here. This was the best opportunity, though, for Trace, I would say. This Lotus map pick was always going to be there. This could completely change. But if anything, it's shown that they can draw blood on G2, but they have to keep it going. G2 now sitting at 6-5, still with the lead. Hebe under pressure early, and that pressure is coming fast.
Yeah, a little bit of a delayed stun there with Valen's TP to see if they can catch that early aggro. Well played by Hebe to not overextend, but he's in a whole heap of trouble now.
He certainly is. TP gets taken, Valen's in there. No idea! Perfect pinch, perfect use of the ult. I wanted it, I get it! Oh, but they're fighting back! Trace! They don't care! They just barrel into the site and bring it back to a 2v2. No right to do that, but somehow make it happen. And now G2 want that plant. They want the time on their side. Some advantage. Leaf is prowling, patrolling in the ult himself. Bianca praying that some of this spray works. They're going to walk this. They're absolutely going to walk this. Oh my god, that was so close. Trent's the one to get it, and now just one man against the two. A brutal ult to walk in.
Hello?
Leaf, what are we up to? That drops the pit. Suddenly this becomes so much more doable, and Trent left in a world of trouble. The cross ain't pretty, and this is now getting messy. This is looking like composure's on the line. We've got the utility coming out, and the pressure is there! Trent goes down! Unbelievable, but does he have the time? Yeah, he does!
Got it.
He absolutely does! That is gonna look close, but I swear to you, he's got this one.
No, he doesn't!
No, he doesn't! I lied!
No, he doesn't!
G2 just about getting away with it! Bloody hell!
Unbelievable. He was on a tear too, sprinting back towards spawn. Wins the fight, but can't secure the round. And I mean, look, this started off beautifully for G2, going for the fight in the back, but to win it like that makes you sit on the edge of your seat going into the second half.
Had it with your old phone? We've got you. At Verizon, trade in any old phone for iPhone 16 Pro on us, on any plan. And get iPad and Apple Watch Series 10, all three on us. That's up to $2,000 in value, only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.
You don't see me like I see you. I could tell from the nights that we argue. You don't need me like I need you. I'm the lamb to your shepherd, I follow you. I know that you count your sins, late nights and you sleep like it, while I just wait like the fool I am. Trinkets in the contraband, strange gifts from a stranger's hand. Why the hell are you hiding? Trinkets in the contraband.
5-7. Is it enough? G2 were pressured here. They do come out at least with a scoreline lead, right? They've got a couple rounds to play with here, but these were really volatile rounds, right? These were up and down the whole way through.
Especially considering that 2 of those rounds Trace got were just on ecos. Half buys, Sheriff somehow still winning out here. Trace now moving on to the attack side of things, but G2 can often be more deadly on the defense side than on the attack. We'll see how it starts, because already G2 are ready to fight early into this A side.
Oh, that is indicative, isn't it? Look how deep that util goes. Jorg straight up just towards rubble now. Gonna be just sitting towards this as long as he fancies.
Valen just trying to see if he can get some shots through this one way, but he's kind of sticking out in that area for now. Notice that Jonah P has rotated over on the B side and didn't use stun in that opening volley. So if Trace try to exec into C, that could be every single player stunned up and ready to fall to this high-low setup G2 have going.
Are they trying to contact in on this? Like, there we go, okay. They were real close on that smoke, and they do get to beat the utility. So managing to make it towards that C side, Hebe's punished Jorg on the other side of the map. Jorg was over there for a long old time. Now, I don't think this is going to pull anyone away. They've had almost too much success towards this C site. There's that stun, and there's going to be almost a pre-take here. Leaf walks in, knocks down the door. The plant's in, but what does that matter? Hebe, the last one to try and do anything, and he was noted a million miles away. Yeah, he took down Jorgamo, but you ain't going to get this round. Valorant going to be sitting on this defuse, and he's dealt with. Trent's there. G2 somehow make that look easy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Leaf is the player to watch in this event. Man is on an absolute tear. I think he's, what, 16-7 right now on his opening map? And G2 know, right? As soon as Heibei hit that door over towards A, look, they're down in numbers, but we have a 4v4 on site right now. It's time to go, go, go. And it worked perfectly for them.
Yeah, this just unbelievable. Leaf just, in any of these situations, you look so clean with it. Yeah. I don't understand.
I feel like Valorant right now is just a mini game where it's trying to get timings through smokes as often as possible. At least finding them right now.
That's got to feel so good to pick up the pistol in that fashion as well after such a, like, I don't want to say muddy first half, but it was pretty, like, volatile, right? Very much up in the air, some messy-ish rounds coming down to get a nice, clean start to things. Got to feel good. That should open up the gateway for a couple more rounds here as well. We've got the Stingers out, we've got the Outlaws coming out, Guardians, bits and bobs, and nothing invested from Trace. So, hey, if they can get a plant, they get a kill or two. Brilliant. I like the idea. Oh, look at this crunch. That's so well made, so well crafted. And it does put Valen in a little bit of a predicament, but that's a spike. So they do need to go on a recovery mission, and Valen's got to play this right. He doesn't want to fall here. Get overwhelmed, doesn't, keeps composed the whole way through. Sadly, it feels like kind of a bit of a cursed chalice. I like this from Kai, though.
Yeah, Kai's the guy that could just blow this open. G2 have no idea he's on the way. Trent turning around at the exact right time. You gotta be kidding me. And yeah, we're pushing through smokes, but at the end of the day, G2 just high rolling on luck there and taking down Trace, no problem.
Yeah, absolutely nat 20ing the whole way through. This is nice from G2. I like this already, seeing what they're coming through with. There was a little bit of danger. I want to talk about what Trace did with that nice crunch towards Waterfall there. There was so much threat towards that, which they were able to navigate nicely. Valen just impossible to pin down, super slippery towards CT, keeping them getting, and that spike being dropped where it was just felt like that poison chalice. Whoever touched it just met that end.
You just instantly go down. We're trying to throw smokes and whatever. It's not going to work. Yeah. Trace now, though, they've got to bounce back into this round. Otherwise, it is falling apart. And importantly, with buying a few pistols there for Trace, they've got 2 players on regen shields coming in. There's an Outlaw that's stuck around. So I don't know if I love Trace forcing 5 rifles here instead of a Guardian heavy.
It could be an issue. Let's see if it becomes one. That's yet to be decided. Right. Not ready yet. Good hit. Not the one to get punished yet, but he knows that there's pressure now to the backline. Seeing that Util and Jorgamo just caught sleeping. They were way deeper than he expected. Yeah. That's the site open.
He got the shot on Feng Feng, but heavy armor only down to 10 HP. Now this Ray's playing super aggressively up towards Heaven.
10 HP. He's going for this on 10 HP.
And fully cleared out as well. I don't know.
I mean,
okay.
I'll shut my mouth. I'll shut my goddamn mouth. I'm so sorry. Play where you want with your 10 HP. Get aggressive.
I wasn't familiar with this game.
And now we are. It is getting down to that kind of, deeper end of the round. Valen's position could still get the pressure going, but you can hear that clock ticking. Time is running low, and the 10 HP demon is still striking. Valen just, I think he's trying to just achieve maximum damage at this point if he can. Take away these rifles, because the round isn't going to be really going his way anymore. Bloody hell! What on earth is that man made of?
Steel? I don't know. The bro's unkillable. He was on 10 HP for 3 different fights.
Whole time. What on earth? Like, look at this.
Oh, that was even a refight after he'd been tagged. Getting the kill on Jog.
Just didn't care.
Fair play.
I guess if you just hit the headshot, what does it matter?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, look at this guy. Just light work for him. He's so cool under it. Okay, Trent's got any others nearby. Nothing massive here.
Yeah, just Feng Feng on the other side.
Okay, nothing they can bank on straight away, but this is the round we want to be really focusing on, right? The buys coming out for both teams, looking in a much better position. Real quick tempo coming out here, too.
G2 sort of showing this ultimate, going for a refight.
Okay, and they're trying to go for this one, but do they clear it diligently? Yeah, they do. Trent's on the case. Quick double picked up. That's going to be Feng Feng gone. That's Lauking gone. That's some big players removed from this. You've lost the ult. You've lost your smokes, kinda. You're left down with Kai, Heibei, and Bianca. This is not an easy round anymore.
Yeah, especially with Leaf taking that forward position on B. These players are boxed into the A site. You either have to walk into Jog with no HP, and yeah, not going to work. Or you walk into an Odin. or there's a flank coming in. There's just nothing you can do correctly in this round. It's all falling to pieces.
Yeah, no good outcome. There's no good death. There's no good death. There's no nice way to go here. It just feels inevitable. Oh, man, this is horrible.
Blinded, he's flanked. Yeah.
Yeah, that was beautiful from G2, though. I was a little bit worried about that ult initially, but then the follow-up util coming out from Trent was stunning.
Absolutely. And to me, the thing that's really interesting about watching how G2 structure their defensive sides is how they'll sort of play similar rounds back to back. You think to the pistol in round 2, they showed 2 very active looks towards the A site. Then round 3, it's nobody really on A, it's just the Yoru, and they're pushing out through C. So this round, they only show the Yoru at the start, and it comes with that refight that Tracers aren't expecting at all.
Oh my god!
10 rounds, you can see the smiles starting to break out. They've made it to double digits, they forced the timeout for Trace. That's kind of when you start knowing you got him on the ropes a little, right? That was the big round, right? That could have been a pivot round in my mind, and you literally have Trent just running through him. There was nothing that they could do about it. By the time they got out of that massacre, they were down to 3, and half of them were half HP. So now let's kind of like take pause here. We were kind of, I was holding G2 to very high standards, I think, because they are coming in as one of the teams that a lot of people were tipped to look the best, at least in the start of the year. A lot of people were really rating them. The start of this half, they're now living up to that a little more in my mind. The first half was still very much anyone's game, I felt. Trace very much in touch here, but coming back in, G2 look way more in control.
Yeah, again, G2 on defense is just a different beast. They're so good at controlling rounds, but I want to see what the pivot is from Trace coming in, because I think the big thing they have to be concerned about is how Jonah P just holds onto his stun so frequently for those refights. That came into play with the Teo ult in that last round as well, so Trace needs to do maybe a better job of not overcommitting into space and trying to see if they can maybe bait out that ability. Otherwise, they're going to keep running into these sort of delayed trap pieces that G2 like to go for.
Spot on. Bit of a split to start with, however.
See, the irony is they show the stun immediately here because they're not actually playing on this side of the map. And so now Trace come out of that timeout, they don't really have that space over towards A. And now they're walking into a potential trap with that double flank coming out through C.
I am worried about the flank, and I'm so glad we're seeing G2 explore this. I kind of wanted Trace to do it, but on the hunt here, I'm just going to put that in the pocket of Trent. Lovely. That's a man on the side, man to the good. And now you can see if that post plant holds, but this flank is still on the way.
It's the flank and Jonah P over on A. Those 2 fights are what could get G2 back into the round. First one goes their way, second one doesn't. Trace still with a great chance here.
Yeah, and Jorgamo's now in no man's land. He's a million miles out from this one, but he's going to get through back by door. They've kind of split over towards that blue room, trying to take over some security towards CT. Trace almost exchanging paces here, but G2 do need to start going. They see this to get moving. Jorgamo going to take that step, start getting towards the site. Hey, being a problem. We're starting to see them really heat up here. Trace, it's getting messy again, and they win out. That pivot to B could have gone absolutely topsy-turvy the whole way through. There was so many opportunities for G2 to, I don't know, turn the screws a little more, but somehow, some way, Trace win out in so many of those situations.
Bong Bong was just an absolute hunter here. Heat-guided missile to take out Trent at the start of the round, but really it was this shot onto Jonah P from Hebei. It turns into a 3K for him, but it also just opens up that extra angle into sight on the post plan. That was just too much for John Valen to deal with.
A little frustration, but a good step for Trace though. Get back in this game a bit more. Bong's got to wake up a touch there, almost got a touch. Easy, Tiger. But it does at least allow the ults to start coming through here. That's going to facilitate Jorgamo to get his. It's now ready if necessary.
Sort of tempting the space right now. Again, there still is that stun ready to go, but G2 often will play a little bit softer towards this space. You see Jaws at TP ready towards stairs. Decided to fake that one and send another one back into the site instead. G2 are going to try and hold on to Tree in this post, or in this actual site hold once Jaw leaves the area, but we'll see if Young K can actually find him here. Defense wall goes up. Not playing right on the other side, takes his timing through. That is perfect. He gets his kill, and he's out.
Yeah, that's exactly what he was dreaming of happening. Now going back in with the ult as well. He wants more. This man's hungry for it. He's going to see so much. That's everything you dreamed of. Jorgamo, nothing short of divine intervention could save Trace now, and maybe they're going to get it, but it's Trent. Take away Hebei, and Jorgamo in the back line is going to, again, keep them crunched here. Trent's the one to kill him, but it's Jorgamo seeing all of them as well. Fung's gone, even just one alive. A 1v3 required. No easy task, no spike. They're ready for him.
He's ulting for it.
They're trying to block.
But he only has 20 seconds. He still has to fight these players.
He has to go back for this, and they're waiting patiently. G2, all too aware of the plan.
That's exactly what they needed for that A fight right there. Jaw taking this timing. Again, Valorant is just a game where you push through the smoke on a timing, and if you get the kill, you win the round. It's exactly what it meant for Jaw right there. And then having the ultimate as well to, again, just have full information of what Trace were doing on the map. So they can get those walls starting to close in.
It just feels like this whole map is closing in here for Trace. It's starting to capitulate a little under pressure. 11 rounds now for G2. This was your chance, boys. If you wanted to make a go of this one, this was the stand. Fall a little short, looking a little desperate there though, Valen, and Leaf going down. I'm a little surprised, but Trent is still trying to keep this competitive.
Jonah P is really trying to bust a move over to that C side as the A-Lurk again finds the kill. Jonah P blinded up, can't hear anything. He really needed to take a timing into the site, but now all eyes fall onto Trent here. That'll be the first one, and still no spike planted.
This could be a monstrous round for Trent. He still has util. He has a nice bit of positioning to play from.
2 flashes on Jonah P as well. Right now, Trace just buying time so that Hebe could actually regroup with the team. And the whole while, G2 are concerned that that flank could still be coming in.
Trent take this moment. This big opportunity here. Smoked off though, here. Considering the util. Ult gonna come down, denies plant on this. And he does get a little closer off the flash coming out from Jonah P. Trent is now very close by and they have no idea. Trent is just a step away.
Well, they only have a pixel to plant with.
They have so little. And the jump spot, very diligent from BNK there to double check on this. Trent is so close. He's looking for a kill. He's looking for a pixel out of place and he's being given nothing. But Trace looking hesitant, trying to walk through the ult. They get the reward. Jonah P goes down, leaving just Trent alive. But this man looked good, but it's not good enough. Lao King's there. And even in all that hesitation, they keep their cool and stay in this game.
Hebe took a beautiful time there. He heard one player reloading, so knew he had a 1v1 on site. Wins that one and secures the round, because that was so chaotic. I mean, the Viper's pit on site. Don't forget, he also found that kill on the A side of the map. But there you go, here's that reload. And doesn't waste a moment with it.
Okay, okay. Step by step, they've broken the money now, but we do have an ult here for G2. If you've got anything creative to bring out, just a checkmate to 12. Maybe go for a bit of it, let's see. Trace, you're gonna give us a game here. Big gateway round for them. Jorgamo would be the first to be challenged. He's trying to stick around on this one, at least for a moment longer, and you can see why. Valen there, and nothing to really force him off this. Trace, what's going on? You've just lost 2 players. You haven't made it past the starting blocks.
It's just a mess, and with where Feng Feng's body dropped, Valen now has a rifle in hand. Trace are still spread apart. I mean, if they want to way back in this round, they almost need to ask Hebe, hey, can you go get a kill over on A side again? Do something.
Those steps are pretty useful, I guess, but there's still obviously the threat of Leaf here, but he only has that frenzy, so maybe they can start building towards this A site.
If anything, falling back there sets up G2 to win this round even more, because now you've got a potential crossfire going from stairs and out of baby. G2 are trying to play as together as possible here to abuse the fact they've got numbers.
This is so goddamn tense, though. Trent here, waiting. Angle's good, shots better. Still controlling this. Spike is there! Trent! Back-to-back impact! Leaving just one alive! G2 with a flawless round to get to 12.
Yeah, you'd think G2 got bored with Trace winning all those ecos in the first half. Coming in here with a fire under them. I mean, Trent absolutely popping off with the Sheriff. Started off great with that C fight as well. Not sure what happened with Feng Feng dropping off of that perch from him, but that just cooked the round completely.
Starting to show a little bit more of that pedigree there, that potential with G2. Looking deadly, and they near on have the full hand of ults as well to depend on, barring Jorgamos. They've got everything they need. A broken buy for Trace, but hey, this is what happens when you play up against some of the best in the world here. You got to deliver where it matters. Trent, very deep with the utility. This map feels tiny for Trace.
Trace, they've got the Visol to play with, but Jaw's trying to get right up in their face. He's going for a fight.
Oh, this man's looking nasty. This is the moment that Jorg always seems to shine. How's he getting out of here? How is Trent alive still? what we are witnessing. Jonah P, he fancies a go at it. This is a mental round.
Q Rocket Man as Funk goes flying into the air. G2 are still hanging around though. They're still fighting for this space beyond K and Funk. We're gonna take them down and open up this site.
Force them back into place, force them to heal a little. That's too far. G2 wants to remember there's some fire with these Trace boys.
Look at Leap though,
Oh,
hanging
God.
out here. He gets one, he
God.
gets two, and he's still looking for more.
Unbelievable from Leaf. And even in the back of his mind, he read it right. He buys the time, he reads around, and Kai from high hopes. So what could be a corner with a shorty in it, Leaf?
25 seconds.
Oh, just that taste of potential for Trace there. Maybe the game could have continued, but Leaf, I think, might have crushed this one. Look at the spike, and Kai has to try and fight. He does. 13 seconds, you gotta go now, Kai. It's game on. Oh, no! Heartbreak for Kai, and composure for Valen. 13-8.
Leaf is just an animal in the server. What a beast. Taking down 3 there. The round was completely lost from G2, but he keeps his head high and carries it through.
Water? Why'd you say it like that? Water. How do you guys say water? Water. I say it with a D as well. Water, water, water. Can I get a bottle of water? Water. Can I get a water? Water. Can I get a water? Can I get a water? Dude, I feel bad for our voice comms editing. We're just stupid.
And I'ma do it again. Watch me win, then watch me do it again.